We had such a great response to the map video that we did a few weeks back that we decided to break each city down and go a little bit more granular into each of the suburbs in the greater Sacramento metro. So if you're thinking about making the move to Sacramento, California in 2025, then stick around because this video is one that you're not going to want to miss. Now you've decided to make the move to Sacramento, and in my opinion, Roseville, California is one of the best choices that you can make and the best choices that you can move to in 2025. Roseville is gonna have a little bit of something for everyone, and it's probably gonna be the most central location in the Sacramento metro if you've got to commute for work or you've got a territory that you're responsible for. Roseville's also gonna have the most diversity when it comes to things to do, excellent schools, outdoor activities, restaurants, and housing. Now in this video, first and foremost, we're gonna be covering 5 major sections of this video. The first one's gonna be all of the major roadways and sections in Roseville. This is gonna be super important because some areas are gonna have that new construction home that you guys love, and some areas will have better easy freeway access to commute into downtown Sacramento or the Sacramento International Airport. Now the next section is going to be all of those amazing neighborhoods within the city of Roseville, as well as where some of those new construction areas are going to be located. Now while we're talking about each of these neighborhoods, we're also going to be covering some of the schools from the elementary all the way up to the high school, as well as some of our favorite restaurants, favorite coffee shops, and all of the awesome things to do in Roseville. So let's jump into it. All right, so the first thing that I want to make sure that we're covering in this video is going to be all of the major roadways and how you're really going to be getting to Roseville. So most of the times you guys are either going to fly into Sacramento International Airport, which is going to be located kind of just north of Sacramento, kind of out in the middle of some farm fields. So you might be driving to Roseville from the Sacramento International Airport, or you might be driving into town. Maybe it's from the Bay Area, maybe it's from Southern California, or maybe you're even driving in from out of state. So you're going to be coming down through like Reno and Lake Tahoe and things like that. So the major roadway that's going to run east and west through Roseville is going to be Interstate 80, which is going to come from San Francisco, and it's going to cut all the way through Roseville, and it's going to take you all the way into Rockland, and as you're going up towards North Lake Tahoe into parts of Rockland, Loomis, Penryn, Newcastle, Auburn, and then all the way into the Sierra Nevada. So that's going to be one of the major freeways. Now another one of the major freeways that you're going to experience in Roseville is going to be Highway 65. Now Highway 65 is going to come north and south, and it's going to connect into Interstate 80, and that one's going to take you up into parts of Rockland as well. Rockland is going to be over here on the east side, but it's also going to take you north into places like Lincoln, and it's going to take you all the way up into Yuba City and eventually into Chico. So those are going to be the 2 major freeways. Now keep in mind, if you are coming from the Sacramento International Airport, there is a back road that can bring you into Roseville. So maybe your search is going to land you out in some of the new construction areas. There is going to be a back road that we'll touch on a little bit later that kind of gives some advantage, but that back road is going to be Baseline, and that's going to take you all the way into parts of West Roseville. And it's actually going to be one of the pros of moving to West Roseville if you have to do a lot of airport travel or if you have to travel a lot for work. So those are going to be the 2 major freeways that you're going to be experiencing if you're coming into the greater Sacramento metro specifically and you're wanting to look at Roseville. Now, before we jump into kind of each one of these separate sections and we start talking about some of the neighborhoods, we're gonna zoom in on this map a little bit further. Now, there are gonna be some major streets or some major mile markers that you're going to be experiencing. There are gonna be a few roads that are gonna take you from all the way over in East Roseville, all the way out to West Roseville and some of the new construction. And then there are also gonna be some other major things. So as you're coming into Roseville, let's say you're coming in from the airport, or let's say you're coming in from San Francisco or the Bay Area, which would, you would kind of go in through Sacramento. There's going to be a few different mile markers that you're going to experience. So the first one, the first exit when you get into Roseville is actually going to be Riverside Avenue, which is going to be the first exit. That's going to take you into parts of West Roseville via Kirby, or it's going to take you into parts of East Roseville via the same street. And you can kind of hit over the train tracks and you can wind up yourself into West Roseville, or you can kind of make it all the way into East Roseville and check out some of like Maidu Park and some of that stuff. Now the next exit that's going to take you from west to east in Roseville is going to be Douglas Boulevard, and Douglas Boulevard is going to go all the way through. And if we expand out a little bit further, Douglas Boulevard is actually going to take you all the way out into Granite Bay. Now, as we go a little bit further, zooming back in here on the map, you're gonna have your next exit, which is gonna be Eureka Road. Now, Eureka is also gonna take you into parts of West Roseville and then take you back into East Roseville. It's gonna take you over to, you know, places like Kaiser, you know, and all the different neighborhoods that are over here in East Roseville. And then as you're passing Eureka, you're gonna have the 65 loop, which is going to take you back up, and then you're gonna hit other parts of exits, which is gonna be Galleria Boulevard, Pleasant Grove, and then Blue Oak. So we're gonna touch on a couple of these major roads as they're important. These are gonna be things that you're gonna probably travel frequently. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about Roseville as a whole, as a city, it's probably one of the most centrally located cities as it relates to the Sacramento Metro. You can make it very easily up to Auburn. You can make it easily up to North Lake Tahoe. You can make it easily into Sacramento. You can go north into Chico. You can go south into Folsom. You can head over to 50 and you can go up to the 50 side, hit all those ski resorts. You can check out Apple Hill and all that fun stuff. So it's kind of nice. We've lived in all three different zip codes of East Roseville, West Roseville, and Central Roseville. And in my opinion, I think it's the most convenient city that you can live in, especially if you have to commute a lot for work, or maybe you're somebody that has a territory and you have to commute all over Sacramento. This is going to be a very centrally located town. Now, keep in mind, there are going to be certain areas. So up here towards the north, as we zoom in, you're going to have Blue Oaks, which is going to run from Highway 65 all the way out to the new construction. You're going to have Pleasant Grove, same concept. That's going to run you all the way out to West Roseville past Sun City, Mahaney Park, and take you out to the new construction. You're also going to have Westbrook. This road is now complete. It touches Baseline, and it's going to actually go all the way up into Amoruso Ranch. So a couple of things that you're going to want to keep in mind as it relates to traffic and what you're going to have to deal with as it relates to some of that stuff. Now, the other nice thing that Roseville's been doing is they have been trying to make the traffic congestion a little bit easier. So with all the new construction that's happening out in West Roseville, there's actually been a lot of congestion because a lot of these roads weren't really designed to have as much traffic flow as they've been having, especially during your commuting hours in the morning and then the evening. But then the other nice thing that I really like is you actually have a road that'll take you from all the way in the East Roseville all the way out to almost all the way out to your West Roseville. So starting down here at the bottom, you're going to have East Roseville Parkway. Now, East Roseville Parkway is going to start kind of out here in Granite Bay, and it's going to take you all the way up by the Galleria through some of these awesome neighborhoods in East Roseville. It's going to cross you over by Golfland Sunsplash and the Galleria, and it's going to head all the way out in through Central Roseville. And now what they're doing is right here at Industrial Area East on the map, they're creating an overpass that's actually going to connect to this part and take you into Blue Oak. So the road actually almost goes all the way across town. So that's always a nice thing. If you ever have anything to do, or if you ever have anything that you need to, you know, go from one side of town to the other, that's probably going to be the easiest way. You actually don't have to make a lot of turns, and you can go from one side of town to the other, minus getting from Blue Oaks over to East Roseville or Roseville Parkway. Now, the next section of this video is Roseville's actually broken down into 3 different zip codes. The first one is going to be Central Roseville. Now, Central Roseville is going to be things that are going to be north of Interstate 80, on the north side of Interstate 80. It's going to be kind of stuff on the south side of Highway 65, but there is going to be a little pocket that's going to bump over on the north side of Highway 65, but pretty much Central Roseville is going to be the place where a lot of the fun things happen in Roseville, a lot of the things to do, a lot of the outdoor activities. Golfland Sunsplash is going to be right over here on the border of Central Roseville and East Roseville. You're also going to have the Galleria Mall, which is going to be where a majority of your restaurants are going to be at. A lot of your chain restaurants, a lot of your locally owned restaurants as well too. But those are also going to be kind of sporadic throughout East Roseville, West Roseville, and Central Roseville. But I will say Central Roseville is probably going to be the most convenient area to live if you have a lot of different errands that you need to run, if you have a lot of different things that you've got to do. It's very quick, it's very easy. We actually loved living in Central Roseville because you could knock out like 10 or 15 errands on a Saturday or a Sunday, and it was super super quick. It was 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. It is getting a little bit more congested. It is getting a little bit more traffic, but we'll jump into the map a little bit more in depth when we're talking about some of these neighborhoods. But Central Roseville is going to be pretty much everything that's going to be south of Highway 65. And then on the west side, it's actually going to kind of bump up here near Industrial and kind of cut over to Washington. And pretty much it's going to follow all the way down, cross over the train tracks, and there's going to be a little section of Central Roseville that's going to be north of Interstate 80 or on the west side of Interstate 80, but just south of the train track. So this is going to have some of your older original Roseville area that's going to be primarily around the train tracks. You're also going to have really awesome neighborhoods like Diamond Oaks. That's going to be right on the backside of the fountains. You're going to have Highland Reserve up here, which is going to be kind of close to Top Golf. And then you're also going to have this neighborhood that, like I said, it's going to be on the north side of the freeway, which is going to be Stanford. And that neighborhood is actually going to be close to, you know, things like the Roseville Costco, which is over here. So super awesome. But Central Roseville is definitely the area that if you want to be super close to everything, everything's probably going to be within a 5 to 10 minute drive. The negative about some parts of Central Roseville is that you do have a train track right here. So I will say every time when we were living in Central Roseville and we had to go over to East Roseville, or if we had to go out to Folsom or El Dorado Hills for whatever it may be, we would get stuck at this train track a lot of times. Or the other side, or the other way to kind of get around that is you would come up through, you know, Galleria. So we're filming this video right around the holidays. It's actually the start of the new year. But if you are living in kind of the Central Roseville area, if you have to make a lot of trips from West Roseville to East Roseville or East Roseville to West Roseville, and you've got to pass in front of the Galleria Mall during the holidays, so Black Friday, all the way up through about Christmas time, maybe the first couple of weeks of January, traffic along that road is going to be absolutely miserable. It's going to be, it's probably going to take you an extra 10 or 20 minutes just to get from one side of town to the next. Now, the other zip code that Roseville has is going to be 95661. Now 95661 is going to be East Roseville. That's going to be the side that's going to be closest to Folsom Lake. It's also going to be closest to Granite Bay, and some of those neighborhoods are going to actually feed into Eureka Union School District and Granite Bay High School, which I know sometimes that's actually a very big caveat for some of you guys. So East Roseville is going to be everything that's going to be south of Interstate 80 or east of Interstate 80 as you're kind of coming over here. It's going to butt up to parts of Rockland up here on the north, and then it's also going to butt up to parts of Granite Bay over here on the east side. Now there are a couple little pocket neighborhoods that are going to spill over onto the other major road, which is actually going to be Sierra College, which turns into Hazel, and then it's going to bump into parts of Sacramento County, which is going to be Citrus Heights on the south side. So kind of keeping that into that big kind of area. So there are going to be additional really good restaurants on this side of town. Main thing over here is you're going to have the water park. You're also going to have Maidu Park, which is one of the mega parks that we've featured on this channel a couple of times before. And you're going to have a really killer restaurant that we love to frequent, which is going to be Nick's Taco, which is going to be right off of Kirby. So that's going to be one of the nice things about East Roseville. Again, pretty close in proximity. I would say you're pretty close to Folsom Lake if you like to go outdoors, you like to go hiking, biking, boating, any kind of outdoor activities that are going to be out at Folsom Lake. That's always really fun, and that's going to be that main entrance like we talked about earlier in this video, which is going to be Douglas. That's going to take you all the way out to Folsom Lake, all the way east through Granite Bay. So a couple really nice things there that we really like. Now finally, the last zip code that Roseville has is actually going to be 95747. Now this section of 95747 is actually going to look a little bit different than kind of this area of West Roseville. So there's going to be parts of West Roseville that are also going to include some unincorporated parts that butt up to Sacramento County, and it's also going to have some unincorporated parts that they've just started to develop as we've started to see some of those new construction areas. Now, the cool thing about West Roseville is, I think for what you guys like, this is going to feel like the newest area of Roseville. East Roseville is going to be kind of that middle section, and then Central Roseville is going to have some of that older stuff, as well as a few newer communities that are going to be over by Costco. But I would say West Roseville is going to have the most availability for new construction. So you are going to have kind of this stuff that's going to kind of border up to parts of Central Roseville like we talked about at the very beginning. But then you're also going to have, I would say, kind of like the new West Roseville, which is going to be this section that's going to be really on the east side of Fittyment. And this is also going to go all the way down here. But you're going to have kind of the older section of West Roseville. This stuff is going to be primarily built in the late 80s to the early 2000s. You're also going to have a couple of golf courses over in this section of town. And then really everything that's going to be on the west side of Fittyment is going to be primarily all your new construction. So you're going to have your master plan community like West Park, you're going to have Winding Creek, you're going to have Sierra Vista, you're going to have Amoruso Ranch, which is going to be kind of out here to the north. So you're going to have a ton of different options for the new construction areas. You've got a lot of brand new schooling out there. You've got brand new elementary schools. You got the brand new West Park High School, which was just built out in 2021. So you definitely have a lot more new options. So we'll cover all of these areas as we're talking about some of these neighborhoods, but really Roseville's broken down into 3 different zip codes. So once you kind of start to get an idea and a bearing of, you know, where things are at, where things are located at, it allows you to kind of really figure out, because I know sometimes you guys reach out to us and you really like certain types of housing. Sometimes you guys reach out to us and you guys absolutely hate Melrose. So they really kind of go hand in hand, whether or not you're living in West Roseville and you're going for some of that new construction, which unfortunately does come with some Melrose, or you want to go for maybe a more mature neighborhood out in East Roseville, or you want to be closer in proximity to the lake, or you just want to be close in proximity to all the different things, the activities, and really kind of have the best of both worlds, where you're in Central Roseville, you're not too far away from some awesome restaurants, you're also not too far away if you wanted to go out and check out West Roseville or East Roseville. All right, so before we jump into the next section of this video, I did want to take a quick break. My name is Lance with the Living in Sacramento team, and my wife and I make these videos for you guys who are relocating or moving to the area, or heck, if you're already living in this area, but you just want to know a little bit more about some of the new construction. But whether it's talking about Roseville or the greater Sacramento Metro or Folsom or Elk Grove or any of the amazing suburbs that we have, we also wanted to let you know that we are licensed real estate agents with the state of California, which means that as much as we love making these videos for you, we actually love helping you more with all of your real estate needs. So buying, selling, relocating, moving here, moving out of state, whatever it may be, we actually love helping you with all of those things. So that phone number is going to be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message ourselves. And we actually love getting to know your guys' goals, what's bringing you to Sacramento, because we absolutely love this town. So give us a phone call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, or better yet, book that one-on-one Zoom call so we can hop on a video and kind of do this same kind of map tour specific for your needs. All right, so for the next section of this video, what we're gonna do is we're actually going to jump onto the computer here real quick, and we're gonna explore some of these awesome neighborhoods. Now, we have touched on several of these amazing neighborhoods that Roseville has to offer, so we're gonna try to limit it to probably 8, 9, or 10. You know, we're gonna hit a couple in East Roseville, we're gonna hit a couple in Central Roseville, and a couple in West Roseville, and kind of finish off with a lot of those new construction areas that you guys really like about West Roseville, or really kind of just in general about the Sacramento Metro, right? So, you know, we're going to start off in East Roseville. We're going to work our way over to the west and finish off with some of that new construction. Now, you know, as you can see on the map, we've got East Roseville. I've also got the Metro list up here right now too. So now currently at the time of the year right now, we just hit New Year's. So there's not a ton of inventory in some of these markets, but you know, we just did a quick standard 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, single family home. But that way we can kind of see what's available out there, talk about some of these neighborhoods, some of these things that are really nice. Now, the first neighborhood that I'm going to touch on here real quick is actually going to be Johnson Ranch. Now, Johnson Ranch, the cool thing about Johnson Ranch is you're actually going to be really kind of right on that borderline, close to Granite Bay, super close to Folsom Lake if you like to go out and you like to do any kind of boating. Now, there's going to be a couple of different neighborhoods here, but the other nice thing about this particular neighborhood is you are going to be pretty close in proximity to Maidu Park, which is going to be right here. So Maidu Park is one of 2, I would say, mega parks that Roseville has. The other one's going to be Mahaney. We'll touch on that a little bit over in East Roseville, but Maidu is going to have a lot of really awesome things. So it's one of those great parks that you can do a ton of different things. It's got an outdoor skate park. It's got a kind of an indoor outdoor roller hockey rink that could be kind of doubled as a you know, soccer field. They have outdoor soccer fields. They have 4 softball fields that we used to play kind of slow pitch softball at. They do tournaments here all the time. They have batting cages here. They have basketball courts here. So they have a lot of of different things. There's also a really nice perimeter trail that kind of goes out and around this whole area that's really nice for walking in the spring, fall, and summertime. So really cool, tons of different things that you can do at MyDo that we really like. But Johnson Ranch is going to be one of those neighborhoods that's going to be really nice. Like I said, it's going to border up here to Sierra College, which is going to be one of the main ways to get from Roseville over to Folsom, or at least to that south part of 50. Now, the kind of things that you can expect in East Roseville are going to be, you know, traditional single family homes. They're going to range anywhere from probably the low to mid 6s all the way up to, you know, mid 8s. You know, so you've got this one, which is a beautiful 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom for $850K. Currently, at the time of recording this video, you're going to have another one that's going to be a 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom, $850K. You know, you're going to have a newer community that's going to be over here where it's kind of, you know, deemed Granite Bay, but you know, really it's on the East Roseville side. You're going to have this 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,800 square foot home that's going to be $660,000. So it's going to be a really nice neighborhood. The other thing that I really like about Johnson Ranch too is you're actually going to be really close to the Johnson Ranch Racket Club. So that's a great workout fitness facility that's there as well too. Now, one of the other things that I love about East Roseville is this area of Roseville was typically built, I would say, kind of in between the 50s, 60s, all the way up to kind of the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s. The nice thing about East Roseville is you are going to have slightly bigger lots that you would see in West Roseville. So you are going to have some bigger lots in Central Roseville as well too. But, you know, East Roseville is going to have a little bit more of that in comparison to West Roseville. Now, the other neighborhood that I really like to touch on is actually going to be kind of the Stone Ridge neighborhood, which is going to be kind of on the top of the hill by Secret Ravine, kind of that Alexandria neighborhood. Now, you do have a couple of luxury gated communities up here kind of around the Stone Ridge neighborhood, right? We just showed one home that's going to be on Roberts Place. This is going to be a gorgeous stunner that's going to be listed at 1.8. This is actually a custom built home. These were original owners. They built their dream home. I would say most rooms in this house have a 360-degree unobstructed view. You're pretty close to Miners Ravine Trail. You're also going to have another gated community that's actually going to be Tiburon. This one's going to be a 6-bedroom, 6-bathroom. This one's actually going to have its own in-laws quarters. This one's going to be listed at 1.4. But then you're also going to have some other homes similar to those that we saw in kind of Johnson Ranch. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,300 square foot home that's going to be listed at $800K. As well as that home, you're also going to have one more over here over on Ursula, and that's going to be a 3-bedroom, 3 to 4 bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,600 square foot home for $925. So the homes at the top of the hill are going to feel a little bit more luxurious. You're going to have a little bit more of that gated community feel. You're going to have HOAs up here, but you all are going to see some of these homes that are going to be kind of built late 90s, early 2000s, big kind of grand estates. Now, the last kind of area that we want to kind of touch on is you are going to have some older communities. Now, while there's not really a ton of homes available for sale, you are going to have some older communities that are going to be at a much more lower entry point. That's going to be kind of that right around that Kirby area. It's going to be really close to Oakmont High School, which is going to be right off of Kirby and kind of that Sunrise Boulevard in between, you know, Sunrise and Rocky Ridge. But Oakmont is going to be one of the top 2 rated schools in Roseville Joint Union. When you kind of exclude Granite Bay, it's going to be listed, it's going to be rated about an 8 out of 10 based off of greatschools.org. But there are going to be some more affordable homes that are going to be in those areas. So kind of south of Kirby, you're going to have San Simeon. That one's going to be $799. You are going to have a 4.2 that's going to be $599. So definitely some different options that are going to be over here. And then you're going to have one over here off of Champion Oaks. Now this is going to be your standard 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,800 square foot house. It's going to be listed at $535. Been on the market for a little bit, 83 days. You're actually going to probably be able to get that a little bit lower. You know, my guess, just based off of the time and days it's been on market, but this is going to be on 1/3 of an acre. You're going to have City of Roseville utilities. It looks like they've done some minor updates here, but you're going to have a pretty big lot size over here too. So definitely a lot of options. It's not looking like it right now as it relates to just the time of the year. A lot of listings expired at the end of the year, and we probably will start to see some of those start to re-up as, you know, the new year comes. Now, flipping it over to Central Roseville, like we said, Central Roseville is going to be pretty much where everything happens as it relates to you know, all your restaurants, your shopping. One of the things that I really love about Central Roseville is you just have a ton of things, right? You're gonna have a Muni golf course or a city ran golf course, which is gonna be Diamond Oaks. We're gonna touch on that a little bit here in a second. You're also going to have the Galleria. That's going to be the major mall, I would say, in my opinion, the major mall for the entire Sacramento area. I feel like a lot of people will skip over going to the Sacramento Mall and they'll come up here. You're going to have the Roseville Galleria. In my opinion, I think it's the better of the two malls that we have in the Sacramento Metro. I feel like a lot of people kind of skip over the Arden Fair Mall down in Sacramento. So a lot of different stores in there, your Nordstroms, your Macy's, all your traditional stuff. They also put in a killer movie theater, as well as arcade with laser tag and all that stuff. So definitely some cool things over there as well. So I really like Central Roseville. The other couple of things that you have, like I said, right there on the border, you're gonna have Roseville Golfland Sunsplash. This is gonna be kind of flirting with that East Roseville, Central Roseville area, but you know, it's one of two water parks that we have in the entire area. So especially if you're thinking about things to do with your kids in the summertime, Golfland Sunsplash is a great place. We have done season passes for our daughters in the summertime, and they practically live there 3, 4, 5 days a week in the summertime. You got tokens for the arcade. You can go to the water park as much as you want during the day. You can also use it for night slides, which I believe is like 6 to 10 or 6 to 11. So, you know, definitely a lot of really fun stuff. They've got bumper cars, they've got go-karts, they've got all of that different fun stuff that kind of Golfland Sunsplash is, and it's a great place to kind of hang out during the summertime. Plus, right there, just south of that, they've got an In-N-Out Burger, so a lot of the kids will walk over from Golfland Sunsplash to In-N-Out Burger, and it just makes it super easy. It's probably, I would say, one of the most positive things that I think people who have moved to Roseville really love, especially in the summertime. I think everybody has kids that are out of school, they're trying to figure out things to do. That's probably our game changer of things that like we love is Golfland Sunsplash. Now, the other thing that I will say is you are going to have, as of the time of recording this video, you are going to have one of the only Top Golfs in Roseville, which is also a really fun thing to do. That's going to be right off of Pleasant Grove and 65. We're kind of in between Pleasant Grove and Blue Oaks and 65. So you've got an axe throwing place over here. You've got Top Golf Roseville, which, you know, I'm sure you guys have seen Top Golf other places. There is going to be a Top Golf that's going to be opening up, but for a long time, this was the only Top Golf that we had in all of the greater Sacramento Metro. So you do have a lot of things that I think a lot of areas in the Sacramento Metro, like Folsom or Rockland or, you know, all these other places, they just don't have. And so, you know, a lot of people end up coming to Roseville because they have a lot of that stuff. The other nice thing about Roseville is you really don't have to leave Roseville. It has everything that you need. So right off the corner of Galleria Boulevard, you're going to have Costco. I know a lot of people really love Costco. We also have Winco here. We have a Walmart Supercenter. In that same shopping center, we also have a Sam's Club. So some people are Sam's Club people, some people are Costco people. But you really don't ever, aside from working, and if you work outside of Roseville, that's a different story. But aside from that, you really don't ever have to leave Roseville if you don't want to. So that's, I would say, in my opinion, one of the best things. So on one side of the freeway, you have a Walmart. On the other side of the freeway, you have a Target. And then you're also going to have like a Lowe's. You're going to have a Home Depot. I think there's 2 Home Depots in Roseville. So definitely a lot of really, a lot of good shopping. You know, Central Roseville is going to have a lot of that stuff. You know, it has some of our favorite restaurants. You know, we actually, for a chain restaurant, we actually really like to go to Eureka. It's actually right here next to Lazy Dog. Really killer food, great bar menu, great whiskey menu, a lot of really good stuff. On the corner of Galleria Boulevard, they're putting in, they just put in a Fogo de Chao that just opened up. You know, there's a Ruth Chris, there's another steakhouse that's getting ready to get opened up. And then they also have different things. We have a Dave & Buster's here. Again, Dave & Buster's is not a very big Dave & Buster's here, but it's one of the only ones in the Sacramento Metro. So you just have a lot more stuff to do in Central Roseville. You've got golf courses, you've got gym facilities, you've got really everything that you need in Central Roseville. So it's kind of nice. Like I said, the only downside, depending on which neighborhood that you decide to live in, the only downside to living in Central Roseville is going to be if you have to commute down East Roseville Parkway. So this section of East Roseville Parkway, from pretty much Interstate 80 all the way to Pleasant Grove is going to be highly congested. So during the holidays, it's always busy. It's probably just that strip from Pleasant Grove to 80 is probably going to take you an extra 10 to 15 minutes just to make that same section, which normally takes you 10 to 15 minutes. So you're looking at probably a 30-minute commute time just in that little section to make it across town. That's going to go from Black Friday till about the first or second week of January, and then for the most part it pretty much clears up. And then you do have a little bit of traffic kind of in this section of Costco. It has alleviated. They did put a new Costco in Loomis about 6 months ago, so that has lightened up a little bit, but this is still a very popular Costco as well too. So flipping it over now, looking at some of the homes here and talking about some of the neighborhoods, we're going to flip it over to 95678. Now 95678, again, we're looking at this at a time where there's not a ton of inventory, but you are going to have a couple of different neighborhoods that I want to touch on. So the first neighborhood is going to be the one neighborhood that's going to be kind of on this north side of Highway 65. So for the most part of central Roseville, everything is going to be south of Highway 65 or west of Interstate 80, but there is going to be a little pocket. It's actually going to bubble into kind of this Stanford neighborhood. So parts of this neighborhood are actually going to butt up to Rockland, but you are going to have a few houses up here. So, you know, homes in this neighborhood are going to feel a little bit newer. They're not going to be as new as some of those homes out in West Roseville, but you know, you're going to have a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom listed at $799K. This one was built in 2003, and then you're also going to have another one, 3-bedroom, 3 to 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, listed at $719, and that one's going to be built also in about early 2000s, 2003. So just some things to keep in mind. Not a ton of stuff. Now you do have a lot of Rockland amenities on that side, but you, again, the nice thing about where Roseville is located at and where Rockland is located at, a lot of the amenities kind of bleed and blend in. So we tell a lot of people you could travel from West Roseville to West Rockland or East Roseville to East Rockland, and you probably wouldn't really know too much that you left one town and you're entering into the next. The next neighborhood that we've actually touched on before in the past is actually going to be Highland Reserve. Now Highland Reserve is going to be this pocket. It's going to be just north of Pleasant Grove. It's going to be east of Washington, south of Highway 65. There's only one thing for sale right now. It's really close to Venzel Brown Elementary School. Again, big homes, 2,700 square feet. There are kind of some lower priced homes that are going to be kind of in the, I would say, the low to mid sixes in this area of town. But again, this one is also going to be a little bit more of a newer neighborhood. This one's going to be built in the early 2000s. So, you know, as it relates to some of the stuff with Roseville. Now, you are going to have kind of the older section of Roseville, which is going to be kind of Main Street, Roseville Heights, Sierra Vista, all the kind of stuff that's going to be around the train track. There is going to be a section, and we didn't really touch on this in the first section part of this video, but there is going to be some fun stuff that you can kind of check out on Vernon Street. There are going to be some restaurants that are pretty cool down here. You're going to have the Roseville Civic Center. They do a ton of really cool events in the summertime down there. They do movies at the Civic Center. They do farmers markets in the summertime. Lots of really fun stuff. And then you're also going to have a section of Old Roseville that are going to be kind of some of your, not dive bars, but some of your more Friday night, Saturday night kind of bars that you would go out to. So that's going to be kind of in the older part of Roseville. So you're going to have things like Boxing Donkey, the West House Club, Trocadero, Onyx. So a lot of that stuff's going to be down in old part of Roseville. So this section of Roseville is actually going to have a little bit more of an older feel. So this kind of Roseville Heights, Sierra Vista kind of area, this is going to be kind of built around the, you know, original Roseville High School. So it's going to have a little bit different of a feel than maybe, you know, East Roseville, parts of that, you know, kind of central Roseville that's going to be north up by the Galleria, or even parts of West Roseville. But the cool thing is you are going to have a little bit more affordability in this area, similar to what we saw south of Douglas. So you're going to have kind of this home. These are actually newer homes that were built kind of in the, I want to say the 2016-17 range. These were built a little bit earlier, probably 2008, but over off of Ivy Street, 2017. So this one's actually a really nice 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 1,500 square foot house. It is a little bit closer to the train track, but definitely a little bit more of an affordable home, something under 500K, which is typically, we don't see that too much in certain parts of Sacramento, especially certain parts of Roseville, but really nice 2-story home, really gorgeous home. Then you're going to have this home. It's going to be a 3.2, 505, 1,200 square feet, again, over off of Elm Street, you know, so definitely a little bit older of a home, built probably in the early 70s. So, you know, definitely a different feel, different vibe over here. And then you're gonna have kind of a bigger one. This one's gonna be a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,400 square foot home. Those are a little, I would say those are a little not typical for this area, but you know, this one's gonna be listed at 557. So really nice. And then the other neighborhood, now there's nothing for sale in here right now, but one of my favorite neighborhoods is gonna be kind of like this Diamond Oaks area, right? And so it's gonna be really south of Pleasant Grove, south of Roseville Parkway. You know, you're gonna have Diamond Oaks Road that's gonna run through the center of this, and it's going to be primarily built around the Diamond Oaks Golf Club. We lived over in this neighborhood for about 1.5 years, 2 years. Really nice. The thing I probably loved most about it, we lived kind of over here off of Walton Way, but the thing I loved most about it is from certain parts of the neighborhood, you could actually walk to some really awesome restaurants. So you could walk to Pete's Coffee. There's a Whole Foods over here in the fountains. You could walk over to Dave & Buster's. Makuni's is over in that parking lot as well too. It's one of our favorite sushi restaurants. So it was really nice because, you know, from certain parts of this neighborhood, you could actually walk and you were within close proximity. Now, I will say a lot of the homes in this particular neighborhood, if we kind of look at, you know, closed homes in this neighborhood, you know, you are gonna see much more of an older home. So, you know, things in here can be anywhere between, you know, 550 and 750, depending on the style, age, and the condition of the home. This one was a 2,000 square foot home listed for 680. Obviously it's sold, but you know, definitely a lot older feel, but some of these homes are backed up to golf courses, which is cool. There's actually a second golf course, which is a private country club called Sierra Vista. You have other homes in here, 710. So again, the prices are gonna vary depending on where you're at. But like I said, we lived over here off of Walton Way. Gorgeous home. It's a great little court. It's a double-sided court, 580 for a 1,900 square foot house, and you're really close in proximity to the fountain. So that was probably my favorite neighborhood and the favorite thing. And then the other aspect of this, and we've shown it on videos before, is this Diamond Oaks Park. This Diamond Oaks Park is not a mega park like Mahaney or Maidu, but this is a killer park. It's got a really awesome play structure that a lot of the kids really like to play on. So you got the golf course over there, but you've got this gorgeous park, and then if you come down the street a little bit, you've got this giant play structure that kids just love to play on. It's like 3 or 4 stories tall. Our daughters have loved to play on this park even before we lived in this neighborhood. You know, definitely a super cool area to kind of check out. But you know, you've got a couple of different pockets in here. You do have a gated community that's back there, and then you have stuff that's going to be on the other side of Diamond Oaks, golf course, that are actually going to be a little bit newer feeling. So, you know, anything that's going to range in the low 6s to the low to mid 8s. So definitely a really cool neighborhood as it relates to Central Roseville, but one of my favorite. Now, a lot of the homes, and we'll touch on this in a little bit here, but a lot of these homes are going to go to the original Roseville High School. So it's one of the older high schools, not as up to date, not as state of the art. I think the school score right now is a 7, so it's one of the lower ones in Roseville, but it's still a great school. It's still a 7 out of 10. Like we said, the last area that we're going to touch on is going to be West Roseville. Now, West Roseville is going to have 2 sections. There's going to be a lot of different sub neighborhoods in this section, and there's going to be a ton of brand new neighborhoods that are going to happen, right? So you've got your main master plan community out there called West Park. You're going to have Wood Creek Oaks. You're going to have Foothill Junction, Quail Glen, Blue Oaks, Fittyment Farm up here towards the north. So really, like what we talked about a little bit earlier in this video, West Roseville is going to be kind of segmented into an old West Roseville and a new West Roseville. The new West Roseville is really going to be all this stuff that's going to be really kind of west of Fittyment line right here, and it's going to go down, and really everything to the west of this is going to be all of your new construction builders. So you're going to have everything from Woodside Homes to Taylor Morrison, KB Homes. You've got Beezer out here, you've got Tri-Point out here, you've got Pulte out here. You've got a lot of really cool developments out there. On the east side of Fittyment, in between industrial and kind of Washington area, is going to be some of your older communities like Wood Creek Oaks, Foothill Junctions. We also lived out in this neighborhood as well too. This is probably one of my favorite neighborhoods that I think I've ever lived in, including places like Lincoln and Rockland and different things like that. But there's a lot of really nice things. It just feels like a newer neighborhood. There's a couple of more golf courses out here as well too. And the nice thing is, if you're a little bit older, or if you're looking that you maybe want to live in an active adult or a 55 and up community, there's actually going to be a really good community right here called Sun City. Sun City is actually going to be kind of right here. You're going to kind of have a little, imaginary line that's going to exclude Quail Glen, but for the most part, Sun City is going to be right here. You're also going to have another Del Webb community that's going to be kind of right here at the corner, and you're also going to have a Heritage Lennar community that's going to be out here as well too. So you have a couple of other options if you also want some 55 and up or 55 and better communities. So stay tuned, because we will be having another one of those videos coming up here in early 2025. But for the most part, when we flip it over to West Roseville, you are going to have a lot of options as it relates to what's out there, what's available for really kind of that 95747 zip code. So a lot of these homes are going to be built. Some of them are going to be as old as kind of like 1980 and like 1985, and they're going to go all the way up till 2024. So again, some of this stuff out here, you are going to have Mellorews, you are going to have HOAs, and you are going to have a mix of resale people who have had to move for whatever personal circumstances that they've needed to, as well as you're going to have active builders that are going to be actively out here as well too. Now we are going to touch on the school district a little bit, because it is a little weird out here in West Roseville. Definitely some things that we want you to kind of know about, but you know, in the older new part of West Roseville, right, you're going to have some really nice neighborhoods. We actually kind of live down here off a country club. You're going to have 3 2s, 1,400 square feet for 600. You know, you're going to have stuff for 749, 574. So the prices are really going to kind of range all over the place as it relates to that. But then you're also going to have some of these newer construction areas, 920, 709, 842. You're going to have some other ones that are going to be 680, 790. So really the mixture of homes is going to be kind of all over the place. You know, if we break it down here, kind of the cheapest, most affordable home out in West Roseville is going to start off at 474, and it's going to go up all the way to 1.195 million. So it really kind of just depends on the house, the area, what you're looking for. But it is one of my favorite areas. The other thing that I really love about West Roseville, like I said, you're also going to have a few more golf courses out here. So you are going to have a golf course that's going to be the sister club to Diamond Oaks. It's going to be Wood Creek Golf Club. So that's really nice, especially Roseville as a whole. I think you have 5 or 6 golf clubs just located within the city limits of Roseville, not including everything that's in neighboring. You're going to have another golf course that's going to be located here at Sun City. You're going to have an 18-hole golf course there. There's going to be a kind of another 9-hole golf course that's still going to be a part of that community as well too. And then if you go here a little bit further, you're going to have the Morgan Creek Golf Club, which is actually going to be a public golf course that's located in a private guard-gated community. Morgan Creek is actually one of you know, Roseville's most luxury kind of communities in the west side of Roseville. It is also a part of kind of an unincorporated part of Roseville, but you are going to find some pretty outstanding or amazing luxury communities. Again, guard gated. The homes are going to be probably built in the early 2000s, a couple of them a little bit later if they found some lots, but really gorgeous, and you've got a nice golf club. The other really thing that I love about Roseville is you're starting to get a lot more restaurants. You're starting to get some more things happening. It's really kind of nice because originally, aside from all this stuff, you know, you are close in proximity. This is actually, I didn't touch on it in Central Roseville, but you are kind of close to the Roseville DMV. You did have a Raley's right here. You have a Safeway up here, and then you had a Nugget and a brand new 24-hour fitness that was just put in off of Blue Oaks and Wood Creek Oaks. Really nice. Those were really kind of the staple parts of all the grocery shopping for this West Roseville area. And when you kind of started getting out into deep West Roseville, deep new construction areas, it was kind of a pain in the butt because there just wasn't anything out there. Now what the city of Roseville has done is they've actually kind of flipped it. So now you have on the next corner over on Fittymint, you've got a Raley's One Market. I would say it's kind of like a mix between like a Whole Foods and a Sprouts and a Raley's. Really cool. On the corner of Fittymint and Pleasant Grove, they are finishing up or completing soon a brand new Safeway. There's going to be a couple of little fast food spots in there, but really nice. And then the real kicker, the real thing that everybody loves is going to be the fact that on the corner of Baseline and Fittymint, they're putting in another brand new Costco. So that should alleviate a lot of the congestion at the Costco that's over in Central Roseville over there by the Galleria, but that'll be a game changer. I think a lot of people love that. So pretty much, you know, you're not going to have to cut across town to get there. Then one of the other things that they've done is they put in kind of this little shopping center that's going to be just about halfway down Pleasant Grove, and there's going to be Kitchen 747 over here. There's going to be one of our favorite coffee shops called Mojo's Coffee. There's a really good Mexican restaurant that's in there. There's a F45 fitness facility, a yoga studio, barber, a nail salon. So kind of a nice thing that you're actually starting to get some more amenities out here as well too. So, you know, it took a little while for them to get grocery stores to the 50-minute, you know, corner, but you do have a lot more things that are coming in the future. You also have a mixed-use retail center that's going to be out here. And then the last thing that I think is kind of really cool on the backside, so right about here, you're going to have the brand new high school. But this section right here, they're building like a 30 field soccer complex that's going to be really awesome. So again, lots of new things that are coming to the area, but West Roseville is going to be massively growing, and they're going to have a ton of, you know, different things out here in the area. Now, one of the last things that I want to touch on is actually talking about some of the public education that Roseville has. Now, I know a lot of people that maybe not be in this stage or age of their life, they may just kind of tune out or click off this video and just really not think about it, but it is one of those things that's really nice, even if you don't have kids or you're not planning on having kids, or if you're past the kids stage of life, you know, purchasing a home in a really good school district is actually a really good investment. So, you know, the city of Roseville is actually going to have a few different school districts. So the first one, or the main one that we really kind of talk about, because it's going to cover the biggest and broadest area of homes, is going to be the Roseville Joint Unified School District. So Roseville Joint Unified High School District is actually going to be comprised of 6 high schools. 4 of them are going to be located within the city of Roseville that we touched on today, and 2 of them are going to be located outside of the city, which one of them is going to be Granite Bay and one of them is going to be Antelope. Now keep in mind, there are going to be parts of East Roseville, actually right here where you see the green kind of cut in. You know, the line between Granite Bay and Roseville is actually going to be this line right here. So there are going to be parts of East Roseville that are actually going to have your kid go to Granite Bay High School, which is really awesome. A lot of you guys really like it. It is rated a 10 out of 10. But then the other school that we kind of touched on is actually going to be Oakmont here, and it's going to be Oakmont's going to be everything in blue. So it's going to include some of those luxury homes that we kind of talked about at the top of the hill. It's going to kind of bow out, and it's going to come down here to the border of Sacramento County line, and it's actually going to cut all the way out to some of those unincorporated parts of West Roseville and encompass parts of that Morgan Creek Golf Club. So Oakmont is, I would say, you know, it's gotten a lot better. It has some really good advanced placement classes. It has some pathway classes. I believe the last time we checked, it was rated an 8 out of 10 based off of greatschools.org. But that's going to be your primary high school that's going to be located in East Roseville, minus the section of East Roseville that's actually going to be here in green that's going to go over to Granite Bay. Now, coming over here to Central Roseville, you're going to have Roseville High School. So Central Roseville is actually going to be everything that's going to be located in orange. It is the original high school, the oldest high school. I think the last time I checked, it was rated a 7 out of 10. Greatschools.org link will be down in the description, so if you want to verify that and check that out. But that's going to be all this stuff in orange. So keep in mind, the line is kind of weird. Roseville grew so much in the you know, new construction areas that they didn't really kind of plan the lines out. So they are probably due for a redrawing of some of these lines, because you do also have a section of kind of that West Roseville area that actually goes to Oakmont. So keep in mind, all these links are going to be down in the description, but Central Roseville is going to be everything in orange. Now, the next section that we're going to touch on is going to be this little pocket of new, or I guess old, West Roseville, and the purple is going to be Wood Creek High School. Wood Creek High School is one of the newer high schools in the area. It was actually built a year before Granite Bay was built, so they both have similar feels. I think they actually use the same architectural design, but everything that's going to be assigned in this purple section is going to be going to Wood Creek. Now, Wood Creek, the nice thing about this section of West Roseville is you're not so far out. There is a section that obviously is kind of occupied by some of Sun City, but for the most part, you're going to have a really highly rated high school. I want to say Wood Creek is usually an 8 or a 9, depending on the time of year. and the testing scores. And then one of my favorites as it relates to Roseville Joint Union is going to be all of this out here in blue, which is going to be West Park High School. Now, West Park High School is an absolutely gorgeous facility. It was built in 2021. It's got 4 anchor buildings that are going to, you know, have 3 different levels, indoor hallways. Kind of weird because it's not really something that we see in California too much, or at least in this section of California, but really state-of-the-art facility there. Now, one of the things to keep in mention, going back to, you know, going back to the map of West Roseville, is there is a section of West Roseville that is actually not going to be a part of Roseville Joint Unified School District. So when we're looking at some of the new construction stuff, there is going to be a line that's going to start kind of at the corner of Pleasant Grove and Fittyman, and it's almost going to go horizontally out here to the left or to the west. So everything that's going to be south of this section as it relates to high school is actually currently, at the time of recording this video, is going to be actually assigned to Center Unified School District. So keep that in mind. You are going to see a pretty big price difference between stuff that's located south of the line and stuff that's located north of the line. So a lot of times we bring you guys out here to West Roseville and you guys may see 2 different homes from the same builder, and the home prices are different, but the houses are the same size. That's going to be primarily the reason, is there is a higher demand or a higher value for a lot of people that want to go to Roseville Joint Unified School District. So that's going to be primarily for Roseville Joint Unified. There is going to be a 5th or a 6th high school that we didn't really talk about. That's going to be Antelope High School. It's going to be down in a city that's going to be actually a suburb of Sacramento, but that is also going to be part of Roseville Joint Unified. Now, as we talked about the elementary and the middle school, you are going to have Roseville City School Districts, right? So this link will also be down in the description. Obviously, going from West Roseville to East Roseville, there's going to be a lot more elementary schools and, you know, fewer middle schools. I believe from the middle school perspective, there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different middle schools that are going to range all the way from East Roseville over. So you're going to have Ike for your East Roseville Middle School. You're going to have Buljan, which is going to be your Central Roseville. You're going to have 3 different middle schools over in West Roseville. You're going to have Cooley, you're going to have Chilton, and then you're also going to have a newer one, Placer Ranch Middle School, so location to be determined. So that's kind of new because that's going to be a brand new middle school that right now hasn't even been built, but that's going to be the 5th new middle school. So for the elementary and middle school, you're going to have a ton more. There's going to be a total of about 20 different middle schools. Again, this link will be there, but obviously as we start getting a little bit more granular, you're going to have 3 different elementary schools in East Roseville. You're probably going to have 5 or 6 elementary schools in Central Roseville, and maybe the rest, you know, 10 or so over in West Roseville. So obviously, it's, you know, neighborhoods are definitely a lot more specific as it relates to where all the different elementary schools are at. Now, there is a section, again, you know, I don't know why they do it this way, but there is a section of kind of West Roseville that's actually going to be a part of Dry Creek Joint Elementary School. So slightly different elementary school and middle school. We lived over in this neighborhood, Silverado, Quail Glen. This is going to be stuff up by the golf course. You got Creekview Ranch. So again, you know, really good elementary schools that are still in this section of town, but, you know, keep in mind, you know, it does span between 2 different counties, but these, you know, Creekview Ranch, Silverado, Coyote Ridge, Quail Glen, those, and I believe there's one more, but those middle schools are actually part of Dry Creek Unified, or Dry Creek Joint Elementary, and not Roseville City School District. So again, some of the lines start getting a little weird out in West Roseville, but, you know, for the most part, you're going to have really excellent rated school districts in the Roseville area. All right, guys, so that was it. That was our map video of Roseville. We covered 3 different zip codes. We covered all the elementary schools. We covered a lot of the neighborhoods and a lot of the things to do and what makes Roseville so special. Again, we've lived in Roseville for a majority of our adult lives. We absolutely love it. There's a ton of reasons why we love Roseville and why we continue to call Roseville home. But this is where we tell you, as much as we love making these videos for you guys, we actually love helping you more with all of your real estate needs. So that phone number is going to be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we absolutely love it when you guys reach out to us. So if you have any questions about Roseville specifically, this map, or anything else as it relates to the greater Sacramento Metro, give us a phone call, shoot us a text, or better yet, go ahead and book that one-on-one Zoom call where we can kind of do the same thing that we did get here today, talk about some of the areas, you know, your job location, where your kids are wanting to go to school, some of your hobbies and activities and things that you guys like to do. So that way we can kind of figure out and customize the best game plan as it relates to moving to the Sacramento Metro. And then also stay tuned, if you're not already subscribe to this video, because we will be breaking down Folsom, El Dorado Hills, Granite Bay, all the other suburbs that we talk about on this channel. We're going to be doing a breakdown of all these map videos as well too.